Welcome to the Jennifer and Penny Show, otherwise known as Dr. Schaumburg and her concierge slash office manager extraordinaire, Penny Behr. This is pretty much the silliness that we have every day. We love each other, we've known each other for years, and we have the wonderful opportunity to be working together directly for the first time in,
15 years.
15 years. So what makes us different, in my opinion, is that we are, everyone likes to say team or staff. I don't like staff, I like team, but in our world, it really isn't. It's family.
We make our patients feel like they are part of our family. I would completely say that. We get to be one with the patient. We get to know the patient, not only why they're here and what we could do to make that situation better, but we get to know them on a little bit of a personal level. So that way they feel that connection with us. And to me, I feel that's important because a lot of patients come here because they have to. You're not going to an oral surgeon necessarily because you want to, unless of course we're doing an implant or something like that. But a lot of the procedures and surgeries that the doctor does is based on needs. And a lot of people come with fears. And I feel to get into, you have to touch them in a certain way emotionally in order for them to feel at ease and to pick our office over another office. And I feel they choose our office for multiple reasons. They could read Google reviews. I understand that's wonderful. But coming in and actually being one-on-one and meeting the doctor and seeing exactly what she can offer you and why she stands out from the other black and white doctors that just walk in the room, explain to you the procedure, and they're out the door. She gets in their heads and gets to know them, forms a connection. A lot of them are referred from people on the lacrosse team or people at a school.
I was gonna do the Jen. Okay, so we're gonna do a role play here.
Good morning. Thank you for calling Oral Surgery of Lighthouse Point. This is Penny.
Hi, I need to make an appointment, and I'll let her fill in.
Oh, okay, no problem. Wonderful. Which office are you looking for?
And then what do they say?
And then they'll say, well, I know Jen. And I'm like, excuse me? I know Jen. I'm like, do you mean Dr. Schaumburg?
Yeah, Jen.
Yes, Jen. I know Jen. And if they don't tell me I know Jen at least 10 times in the conversation, then it's not a good conversation.
Then it gets better. Then it gets, oh no, I don't have an appointment for you on Wednesday. Well, I'm texting Jen right now, and she says that I can come in.
Correct. And then they override me, and then they text the doctor, and the doctor does not know her schedule because the schedule is not what she does. Okay? We man the schedule.
So it is a running joke. I know Jen.
So I'm having pins made. If you know of anybody who makes pins that say, I know Jen. Those are my favorite. Those are my favorite patients. But providing quality patient care is always number one at Implant Center of Miami, and that is truly what we do, honestly.
So the punchline of the I know Jen is really that I am, at any given day, typically covering 4 sporting events for my children. So whether it is
college, now we're into college sororities.
Actually, and that is true. So I also have a daughter that's in Texas, and I have her roommates that don't necessarily live in the state of Florida flying in for their wisdom teeth. And actually that actually brings up an interesting point. So one of the things that I noticed when my daughter went away to school, and I've always treated college-age children because of, especially because of wisdom teeth and third molars, but also as somebody who has a kid that goes out of state, I started realizing how challenging it was to try to get things accomplished for her when she lives far away. So what we started to do, only as an exception basis, like for her friends or like people I knew, like let's say I have a friend whose kids are senior in high school around in Fort Lauderdale, but the older sibling has been having problems with the wisdom teeth and they're at, I don't know, Georgetown. And they're like, oh, but so-and-so is only going to be home for 2 weeks this summer because God knows they can't come home and sit still. They've got a million other things they're doing, whether it's friends or travel or internships or whatever the case may be. To which I say, you know what, I've known so-and-so for her whole life. I know she's healthy. I've got you right here as mom. Do me a favor. Send me over her x-ray and let's set up a Zoom and I can talk to her and, you guys can be on the phone as well. And then we did a Zoom. And then when she came in an hour early So I already went through everything, then her, blood pressure, I already have the x-ray. So she comes in, she fills out the paperwork, like that actual paperwork, like she came for a consultation. We take an x-ray so we can get like the real 3D. We bring her back to the room like the first time she's being seen for a consultation. Like I already know everything. And then whoop, she moves over to the OR and we do her surgery. Now she comes back a week later, I check her. She has another week of just in case, Murphy's Law, make sure nothing goes on, and off she goes to New York to go work in finance for the rest of the summer, and it got taken care of. So I went from doing this as an exception to getting a lot of requests for it. And so, no, this does not work for every patient in every circumstance, but we have found that in cases of like super crazy busy kids with like sports and travel, people that have divorced parents, so it's a little hard to triangulate things, and especially my out-of-state people, we still is not a substitute for a proper evaluation when they come here, but we can really
we set the basis.
We basically do the first step while they're gone, and we can check their insurance. I mean, there's a lot that we can do ahead of time. So we find that it's actually really very helpful.